Hello everybody, this is Gleaming Cold, back with another World Warships Blitz video. In today's video we are... Oh yeah. In today's video, we are going through the top 10 best ships you should buy in World Warships Blitz. Now, first of all, this is my opinion. Everyone else's opinion could be different. And that's completely okay. I'd love for you guys to actually say in the comments, hey, I don't agree with this choice because X, A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z. And that's okay. I'd actually love to hear about it. And it just would be honestly cool. Like, I'd love to actually hear what you guys think. Secondly, I'm only going through ships I own, because I can't give an opinion on ships I don't own, and that could lead to bad speculation or bias or anything like that. So I'm only going through the ships I own, personally, that I think you should buy. So, without anything further to do, let's get into the list, shall we? So, at number 10, we have the Viburis Unitas, the Tier 5 Austro-Hungarian battleship. So, why do I recommend this ship for beginners? Well, I recommend this ship for beginners because, well, everything about it. It is a classic battleship. It has 12 guns of 305 millimeters. Well, 305 millimeter guns. It has good armor, reasonably decent speed, good maneuverability, and, well, yeah, I mean, no AA. Well, let's face it, I don't care about that. Nobody cares about AA. Well, actually, we do. It has a decent amount of survivability, hit points, maneuverability, it has great guns, okay concealment. But overall, this is just a fantastic ship that I think you should pick up. And plus, currently, it's in the shipyard for 35 steel. Not steel. Copper! Not steel. Copper is in the 35 steel. Copper! Oh, good lord. No, it's in the shipyard for 35 copper. Sorry, not steel. Steel would be way too expensive for the ship. And honestly, I would recommend picking it up in the shipyard, because this ship is fun. It is a great ship, and you're going to love having it, honestly. The hit points is 28,175. It has citadel protection of 12.50%. Fire and flood resistance is good. Damage reduction is good. Everything about it is good. Maneuverability is excellent. Not Giulio Cesare levels, but still good. And plus, you get precise aiming and sonar, which sonar will help you if you are needing to dodge torpedoes quicker, which is okay. And not okay. So personally, this ship is a good ship, and I thoroughly recommend you pick this ship up if you get A, the copper, or B, you just happen to pick it up. I thoroughly recommend you get the ship. So, let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have the Tier 6 British cruiser, the Sirius. Now, why do I recommend this ship? Well, this ship is a very good ship in terms of basically, well, it has a very low HP pool. It has a pretty good maneuverability. It has great guns for its tier. The 133 millimeter guns will not fail you, and you get, well, 10 of these guns, which are extremely good. They have a 6.84 second reload time. They have a 10.64 kilometer range, which is amazing. And then torpedo tubes. It has 533 millimeter torpedoes. Pretty good reload, good damage, exceptionally long range for British torpedoes at this tier. Good chance of setting flooding. It has actually a pretty good AA. Well, you could say it's an AA cruiser. It sort of is. You get smoke, you get air defense alert 2, which, if you don't know, nope. And honestly, overall, the ship is just amazing. Now, granted, you do need a little teeny bit of skill because the armor is not great. But it doesn't make it a bad ship. It's just that's something you've got to actually you've got to comprehend that the ship has poor armor and a very low HP pool. So if you can actually keep those in mind, this is actually a great spot. That's honestly, the survivability is pretty much the reason why this ship is high on this list. It's pretty high on the list. If it had like better survivability, yeah, it'd probably be a little higher. The reason why it's so low is because, So, with number 9 done, we can move on to number 8. At number 8, we have the French Tier 6 battleship, the Dunkirk. Why do I recommend? Well, the reason why I think this ship is something you should definitely pick up, and this is a controversy part. A lot of people say the Dunkirk is weak. I'm going to thoroughly say I disagree. It has lower caliber guns, but you get 2 quad turrets of 330 millimeters, and they're only on the bow section. You don't have to show your sides, which are more vulnerable to attacks. And honestly, it's just, you look from the front, that's how you play it. You just play bow in to the enemy. Now granted, if you get into it, if there's a threat behind you, you really only get to blast some of your secondaries, because your main guns can't turn 360 degrees. The ship has a great speed with 29.76 knots. For Tier 6 is fast. And I mean really fast, actually. It's got a good time to full speed. It's got a decent max burst speed and turn time. The guns are very punchy. Low caliber, but still very punchy, honestly. I think they're honestly more punchy than the Normandy's guns. No, not to say that the Normandy's guns aren't punchy. These just feel more punchy. You get, with my build at least, 18.75 second reload time, which is fast. You can scare enemy cruisers with this ship. And again, great survivability. Actually, you have a little weaker. You don't have you have not the tankiest armor, but because you're only showing your bow, you're really not going to show any critical sides, which is actually good. The secondaries are actually very good. You get 12, 13, 14, 16 of these. You get 16 130mm secondary guns. Now granted, not all of them can fire due to the way they're laid out, but they are actually very good, except for the dispersion. The dispersion of the secondary guns are a bit wonky, but they're not too bad. It's not too bad, but it's a little wonky. The AA is not too bad. You've actually got a long range for the small caliber AA damage. Small caliber AA, which is pretty good. The service section's pretty good. And you get precise aiming, not new. Not new. Personally, I do recommend you get this ship, because it's honestly fun to play. And for a lot of people, if you just have to play bow in, that's actually perfect, because then you can actually, you don't have to show your exposed sides, which are very vulnerable. That's something you have to consider. The sides are very vulnerable. You will get punished. Or basically, you get punished severely if you show your broadside. But if you just show your bow, you don't get punished that easily. And plus, think about it. Only main guns on bow. You don't have to show sides. So I know I keep reiterating the same point, but for number 8 is the Dunkirk. Let's move on to number 7. We have the Tier 7 Japanese battleship Ashitaka. Now, why do I Now, this ship has one thing. Guns. Guns, guns. Large caliber 410 millimeter guns. It's an Amagi, but you're at tier 7. And this ship is fun. It is fast. You don't have the greatest armor. Yeah, you'll get punished. You got a high hit point pool for tier 7, actually. You've got an extremely high hit point pool. Your armor is mediocre at best. But still, you got a pretty good torpedo damage reduction for the ship. The maneuverability is excellent. The main guns are amazing. Like, these are just amazing guns. The damage is very, amazing. And you've got a turret traverse speed of 5.35 degrees per second, which is very good. And you've got actually surprisingly extremely good secondaries. While you do not want to brawl with this ship, they're actually very good secondaries. You have no AA, just letting you know that. You have no AA. And the concealment is not horrible, but yeah, AA is bad. Now, why is the ship so low on the list? And you might be thinking, well, number 7 isn't that bad. Well, the only reason it's so low is because of the turret bug. This ship suffers from that turret bug. And that's the only reason why. Because, effectively, sometimes you will only get 8 guns on top, which is effectively Nagata with worse armor. You really need that upper turret. However, you got much better ability, and speed, and turning, and everything. So you will be effectively able to dodge shells. And, I mean, you have a pretty low profile, honestly. Again, the ship only gets precise aiming and a system 1. But, honestly, this ship is fun. Like, it is amazing. And plus, it's at tier 7. It's not at tier 8. If it was at tier 8, I'd say, But because it's at tier 7, it's actually a very, very good ship. So, yeah, honestly, I definitely recommend this ship. And, it usually comes in bundles of, $35. Which is effectively a, yeah, it's a very good, pretty good price for the ship, camo, and silver, I think. So, yeah, with number 7 done, and it's effective because this is a tier 7, let's move on to number 6. At number 6, it has to be the tier 7 German aircraft carrier, the Black Graf Zeppelin. Now, why? No, I shouldn't be calling it a carrier. It's a cruiser. And yes, it's classified as a carrier, and it's got aircraft as a carrier. No, it's not a carrier at all. Oh, the speed is amazing. First of all, you've got cruiser armor, which is actually very good, except for the size. You are pretty big. You're pretty big for a carrier. But yes, you've got cruiser armor. This is effectively the York, which a lot of people don't realize, even though it has a 35,420 hit point pool, pretty good for a carrier. The maneuverability is surprisingly very good for a carrier. The turning's a bit meh. It's still good, but not the greatest, if that makes sense. But that's not why we like this ship. First, the guns. 150 millimeter guns. 150 millimeters. With an 8.20 second reload time and a 10.32 kilometer range. I'm gonna be honest, this is just a light cruiser strapped onto it. It's just a light cruiser that has aircraft on it. Another thing about it, it gets auto secondaries. Oh, this ship brawls. You can, I once brawled a New Mexico in this ship. Now granted, he was a distracted New Mexico, and by the time he noticed me, he was pretty much dead. But still. Okay, I wouldn't actually technically classify that as a brawl, but it's still something. And then you've got to look at the dive bombers. Now, the torpedo bombers are meh. You really, you lose them extremely easily. They're decent. They're very decent. But, yeah, the dive bombers, however, have armor-piercing bombs. And you get 4 dive bombers per squadron, but you don't set many fires. But you can cause a whole lot of citadels. I mean, I really have to say, that's a little bit underrated. That's a little bit overrated about the amount of citadels you get, honestly. But you still get a lot of citadels. Let me tell you that, honestly. And then the fighters. The fighters are amazing. Like, they're not indomitable fighters. But these are very, very good fighters. Like, extremely good fighters. Honestly. And the AA is not bad either. For at least, for a carrier, it's not horrible. And then you got a 9.45 kilometer surface detection, which is extremely good, honestly, for a carrier. And that's not all. You get rapid reload 2, sonar 1, and secondary overload 1. And you get 2 of each. Yeah, you're gonna see why I love this ship so much. The reason why I love it is because it's not just a carrier. If you lose all your aircraft, oh hey, no wait, for a lot of carriers, I'm done for. For this ship, nope, I'm just gonna go charge into the cap. Real quick story time. I was playing this ship one day, and my team all died because, you know, they all died because, you know, they all were stupid. And I'm not trying to be mean about people, but they were very stupid, and they basically just didn't even go for the caps. They literally, it's like, between the caps. And I really have no idea why. But then I had to literally carry the entire team with this ship. And that was, like, I think my first battle with the ship, actually. Now, granted, are you going to be able to attain the Black Groff Zeppelin? If you can't, you can still get the regular Groff Zeppelin for 12,500 gold. The only difference is you get secondary overload 2, sonar 2, but you get a precise aiming system 1, if that makes sense. Personally, I'd recommend the Black Groff Zeppelin over the normal Groff Zeppelin, but if you can't get the Black Groff Zeppelin, still get the Groff Zeppelin. So let's move on to number 5. At number 5, we are moving into the top 5 list. So that is the Pan-Asian destroyer, the Anshan. The Anshan is a Ganevni, which is already extremely powerful. But then give it torpedoes that can actually do something, and they're not deep waters, so you can hit other destroyers, and that leads to a combination of death. And give it a smoke screen. Also, death. So, the survivability is actually quite good for a destroyer, honestly. There's actually a review coming out for the Anshan probably after this video. Actually, yeah, there will be an Anshan review after this video. And I hope you're excited about that, as I'll go more in depth in it. But in a quick summary, 13,685 hit points, very good. Maneuverability, it's very good for a destroyer. It's pretty much on par with most destroyers in Tier 6. The guns, however, are amazing. First of all, the gun, literally, these things are just perfect. I've taken down Tier 7 destroyers with these guns. And by the way, these were like Leningrads, actually. And like, these guns are just perfect. Couple that with amazing torpedo tubes, honestly, like torpedoes. Okay, when I say amazing, I'm really gonna say okay torpedoes. They do something, they do damage, but you're not a torpedo boat. You are a gunboat. You are a gunboat, and that's all you gotta know. You are a gunboat. The AA is trash, and the surface detection is actually pretty good. Surprisingly. The elite ship bonus, which is the only time I'm really going to talk about this. You get advanced HE shell, which is sort of, I feel like it's rare, but if it's not, comment down you get 2 engine boost and 2 smokes. That's pretty standard for most destroyers. But yes, this ship I totally recommend to anyone. It's fun, it's fast, it's maneuverable. You are an amazing gunboat destroyer. I'm not going too in depth and detail with the ship because I also got a review coming. So it's the ship that's gonna have the least in-depth, thing, bio about the ship for why it's at the spot it is, but that's why. So we're moving on to number 4. At number 4, we have Tier 7 American destroyer, the Sims. Now, just like its Pan-Asian counterpart, except at Tier 6, this is a gunboat. Except it's a very tanky-ish for a destroyer gunboat. Yeah, this is a very, very tanky ship. It's a tanky-ish ship. Basically, all you gotta know, pick the Benson, which is already an extremely good ship, at Tier 8. Put it down to Tier 7. Give it better guns. Give it surprisingly long-range torpedoes for the Americans. Give it a pretty good surface section. Give it a little worse AA, but there will be a reason for that. And then give it these skills right here. Now, this might not seem too extraordinary, but Smoke 2 and Air Defense Alert 2. Amazing. And granted, this ship got slightly nerfed, but it's mainly an all-around nerf because Smoke Generator 2 got nerfed from 32 seconds to 28 seconds. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit nerfed. The ship has great guns. The maneuverability is amazing. The survivability is just perfect. Like, it is a very good destroyer. Like, granted, you've still got no armor, but it is a strong destroyer. Honestly, it really is. It's an amazing gunboat destroyer. So, with number 4 done, let's move on to our final 3. At number 3, we've got British Tier 6 battleship, the Repulse. The Repulse you could get from the Blitz Pass. It has not been available since, but it's still something, when it becomes available, you should pick up. So, what do you need to know? The hit points is pretty good. Actually, it has a high hit point pool for Tier 6. You got pretty bad armor for Tier 6. But that's mitigated by its maneuverability. It's got a 30.29 knot speed, which is, I think, the fastest at Tier 6. I think, without engine boost. With, honestly, amazing maneuverability. But you are pretty long. The guns are the same guns from the Warship. And boy, these are pinpoint accurate. Like, I'm not joking. These are pinpoint accurate guns. You get most of them hit. You got a 16.13 second reload on 381 guns. I swear, these are amazing. The secondaries, on the other hand, are very, very bad. You don't want to use them. If you get to use them, forget they're there. The AA is bad, but the surface detection is amazing. It's phenomenal. Just, honestly, it really is. Another thing about this, it gets engine accelerator 2 and rapid reload 2, which basically leads to a 9-second reload time and 33 knots. And then, boy, oh boy, honestly, this ship is fun. You can put a unicorn camouflage on this ship, which is, why? But, I put this. However, this ship is honestly phenomenal. And if you don't own the Repulse, I'd say definitely go ahead and save up for the Repulse. I don't know when it will be coming. I don't actually even know if it will be coming back. But it's still something that honestly just... It is honestly a great ship. And I would thoroughly recommend you pick it up. So with number 3 done, you can move on to number 2. Number 2 is another British. The Tier 7, the Nelson. The Nelson has a lower hit pool for Tier 7. And has... it's pretty good. It's decent armor. The maneuverability is meh, but that's not what makes this ship so good. First of all, before we get into the guns, the layout of the guns. These are 406mm guns at Tier 7, which is already a pretty high caliber, but it's not the highest at the tier. You've got like the Colorado, the Nagato, the Ashitaka, the other ships. But all these guns are on the bow. You do have to show a little bit of side to get that third turret in, but you don't have to show all your side. And now, while armor angling does not work in World War Splits, it does work in PC, but Legends, but not Blitz. However, the ship has a 19% chance of setting a fire. That is the highest at its... Actually, I think it is the highest chance of setting a fire. Honestly, I think it is. I believe, I think it is actually the highest chance of setting a fire on any ship. With a 19.35 second reload time and a 12.90 kilometer range. That's a little short for 406mm guns, but still, the 19% chance of setting fire. The AP is not bad either, honestly. Even though I rarely switch to AP unless I'm dealing with a light cruiser or even a heavy cruiser for that matter. I do love using the HG because of that fire setting. You basically can set barbecues, if that makes any sense. The secondary guns they're pretty good. They're 152mm. They have an 8-second reload time, 5.40 kilometer range. They are AP secondaries, but they're pretty good actually. Secondaries. The auto secondaries are meh, not the greatest. The AA is meh for Tier 7. It's got a very, very low AA rating. It's not great. It's not great AA. The surface detection is actually quite good, surprisingly. If that makes any sense. It doesn't get any ship skills, but honestly, this ship is amazing. And another thing that makes it amazing, it's only for 350,000 free XP, which might sound like a lot, but free XP you can just get through battles. So basically, you can just get this ship for just playing battles effectively. Because free XP is harder to accumulate, but it can accumulate. And it's honestly just a fantastic ship that I'd thoroughly recommend anyone use, especially if you have Horatio Nelson on the ship as a commander. Because this helps boost the ship even further. It's just a fantastic ship. So, yeah. So, before we move on to number 1, I want to actually announce a few honorable mentions, which are these ships. Tier 8 French battleship Champagne, Tier 7 British cruiser Belfast, Tier 5 Soviet cruiser Kirov, and Tier 7 American battleship the Florida. Those ships were extremely hard to put in the list, but these are ships I really recommend you would want to get. They're not bad ships, I just felt like I couldn't find anywhere that would fit on the list. So they're going to go in the honorable mentions. So, with that out of the way, we can move on to number 1. The Tier 9 American battleship, the Missouri. Now you might be thinking, well, hang on. why are the other honorable mentions hard to put in the list, but not this ship? Personally, these are only the ships I own. First of all, I'd like to say that. But secondly, honestly, this ship is just amazing. So, the Iowa is already a fantastic ship. You basically have an Iowa. You have Iowa, all of the guns of the Missouri are Iowa guns. The guns are the same as the Iowa. The AA is better. And I mean the AA is something not to be feared. Like, it's something to be feared. Because, good lord, this ship will shoot down any aircraft that comes its way. The surface detection is pretty good. This maneuverability is actually it is one of the fastest tier 9 battleships in the game. The hit point, the survivability is actually pretty good for tier 9, honestly. And everything it's just honestly very good. However, that's not what makes this ship amazing. What makes it amazing is the ship skills. This ship gets 2 precise aiming system 2, but that's not the thing. It's the radar 2, which switches on a radar for 10 seconds and detecting all hostile ships within a radius of 8.1 kilometers. That's if they're in smoke, if they're in islands, if they're undetected, anything. And I love, in this ship, making Smolensk incredibly angry. So, basically, there are 3 ways how to basically destroy a Smolensk. Step 1, find a Smolensk that is unaware that you're there. Step 2, fire at it. Step 3, as you hit the guns, make it get scared and, well, smoke up. Step 4, make sure you're in the range of your radar and pop your radar. Second, when he's not even paying attention, fire your guns and absolutely obliterate him out of the water. Yeah, that's how you destroy a Smolensk, and I have a lot of fun with it. I actually got, so, that was the top 10 best ships I recommend you buy in World of Warships. Oh wait, hold on. This ship does come for a hefty price of $80 sometimes, so yeah. But, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like, subscribe, comment down below your feedback on all these comments, and join up on my Discord server. We're always having a lot of fun there, and yeah. So, bye.